Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's a rainy day outside, not fishing, so I'm going to start working on the boat, and today we're going to be repairing the trolling motor, or at least starting some repairs on it. I don't know what I'm going to find, but got some bad noises coming from the Ultrex. I fished with it a few times with it, but today we're going to kind of dive into it and see exactly what's going on. I think that I've got water in my trolling motor that has caused some things to go bad. From what I've looked up, excuse me, that is what can cause this, but I'm gonna have it pretty much make the noise for you guys. So if you're trying to fix your Ultrex and you don't know if it's the same thing, hopefully you'll be able to hear this good enough. But I'm gonna turn it on here, and does not sound good. Not quiet at all anymore. Very, very loud. Loud grinding noise coming from right down here. I'm gonna say that I've recently had some line wrapped around there, around the shaft of the trolling motor. So I'm gonna say that I messed up the seal down there or something, got some water in it maybe. I'm gonna pop it apart, see what's wrong in there, and we'll see if I can fix it. I most likely would say I can fix it in the garage. There's rarely you can rarely run into something that with a few tools you won't be able to fix in the garage. Most of this stuff is pretty simple. Take things apart, order the parts, put it back together, go. So stay tuned. Hopefully we'll figure out what's wrong with this thing. All right, so starting out, got to take the prop off. 9/16 wrench will do it, or if you got one of those prop nuts, you just twist that off and you're good. But these two bolts right here, start taking those off. That's what I'm doing to get inside of here and see what's wrong. And that is I'm using an 8mm socket. So far that's all the tools we need. So immediately, get my camera here. I think I know what my problem is. Pop that open, and I had a lot of water come out of there, and then the bolts, these are the long bolts that I pulled out here, and a little bit of rust on that one. I'm gonna say that I've got some water in here, which is a problem. All right, so a continuation of the video. I had to order a couple parts for it, got inside of the head of there, and there was rust all over the armature. So with all that water damage and stuff in there, I just ordered all the new parts. It's a couple $100, and you get just pretty much new everything inside of there. So here's the parts that I ordered from Lakeside Marine. If you go on there, these are the item numbers, these are the parts. So if you are doing the same thing, this is what you need: seal kit, brush kit, or brush and seal kit, and then the Minn Kota armature. And by the way, we are going to be putting her on a different boat now. I just got my Nitro Z8, kind of going to be switching all my electronics and stuff over. So right now I have my Ultrex off of it, and we'll kind of continue the video over here and get this thing fixed, and then I'll be taking that Ultera off of there and putting the Ultrex on. All right, so this is kind of the point that I left you guys at. Just to start out with, after you use the 8mm socket to get these long bolts out of here, which I showed you earlier, this right here, this end, just you have to keep wiggling it and pulling it. It will be really hard to get off of the end of that shaft there as the bearing on it. You just gotta, there's nothing holding it on there. It feels like at first that it's not coming off very easy. You just gotta keep wiggling, pulling on it, and you will get it off. Just be gentle because you got the wires that are running in there, but you guys can see that got gunk, water, all kinds of stuff in there. All right, next we'll be taking off this side. All right, I'm trying to set up the camera angles the best so you guys can see what I'm doing here. But I think from what I'm seeing here, I'm going to be pulling this whole armature out that way. So we'll see how much I struggle here. I might have to jump the video forward a little. But magnets in there, we'll want to keep it where it's at. Oh. Okay. Oh. knock the camera over. Nope. Okay. But yeah, there you go. The magnets in there help hold it in place, obviously. So now that we got that out, we'll be changing off. Pick up the camera a little bit here. We'll be digging into this side down here, which lighting's bad. I promise I'll give you guys a little bit better view. But I'm going to start taking a few things off and then show you guys that. Okay, so here's a little bit better view. This is the brush and seal side, so which there's another seal that goes on this end down here. But we're going to be taking this off. 2 screws right here. The new kit actually comes with new screws, so don't freak out when your screws are completely rusted apart. 1/4 inch socket or a flathead screwdriver will take those off. So currently, again, not a whole lot of tools I think are going to be needed to do this whole job, but we'll get that off and then we'll kind of continue on here. Alright, so next we are getting the seals out of this side of it. This is the prop side of the trolling motor. These are the seals that if you have a bunch of line bundled up around there, you can screw them up. So there's 2 of them in there. Really what you're going to need is, if you don't have them, you can probably beat them out from the other side. But we're going to try to pick them out with our picks here. Might take a little bit, but yeah, this, from what I can tell, is probably about the best way to do this. So here we go. A little fast forwarding, but we are getting somewhere. The first one at least. Alright. And then there's that cardboard ring from in between them. This one's probably going to be even more difficult. Alright, so I kind of figured out the trick here, I think. To save you guys some time when you're tearing in, the best thing you can do, I think, at least the way I just did it, is take your pick and just kind of get around the outside edge and get under there, because there's a metal piece inside of this seal. And that way you can get the outside rubber off of it, and then you can get your pick directly under that seal and pull up on it. And that broke it loose. Finally. So if you just go straight to that, after I started doing that and just taking the rubber off of the black metal piece so that I could get my pick under it individually, it went a lot quicker. And we are officially out. And so that will be seal number 2. That was a little more time consuming than the rest. Alright, so we've about got everything torn down here. That obviously end is going to stay on. That's just got the wire running over to the transducer in there, so I've got to clean all that up. I'm going to clean all the inside of there up, and then right there you got that wire that was running underneath that screw there, and then just got to disconnect these 2 back here, which I'm going to be replacing this entire piece right here. So just disconnect these 2 wires. I might have to clean up that connection. If they left me enough slack in that wire, we might put a new end on there because it looks questionable. But anyway, we'll do that, and then next step we will be starting to put stuff back together, and I'll show you guys kind of what I'm looking at before I'm truthfully just going to clean it up as good as I can. Try to get all the rust out of there, get all the moisture out. Alright, so on this brush kit here, the most complicated part really is just the springs on each side that hold these magnets in place. But really self-explanatory when you look at the other one. Slip those in there. The rounded side goes to the inside, plug them on the outside, but the spring you got to put on there and then pull the long piece around. That's what I figured was the easiest way to do it after messing with it for a minute. This side, actually the wire blocks it. So really the easiest way to do it is to go ahead and take the wire back off, and then you can see I've got it on there to where this long part that slips into this notch is there. So I'm literally just going to take and bring it back around this way. If I can get it to, it's really flexible. Oops, shaved part of my fingernail off there. then there you go. That's the end result. Holds this piece in place there, and then you just take that and do the same as the other side. Plug it back in, and then you're good to go. All right, so we're going to be putting these seals back in here. On this side of it, the seals that when you're putting them back in, the opening, this side right here, they're going to go together. That's going to create a little cavity there that there's going to be some grease and stuff in, that the cardboard piece goes in between there. But we're just going to grease it up a little bit with some marine grease. What I've got to push it in with is a 5/8 inch socket. It actually fits down into the grooves on this side, and then when I'm pushing the other one in, it sets on this side perfectly so that you're not messing up the edges, because that's the main thing when I'm putting this thing in. I don't really want to have something sitting on the edges that I'm like hitting on or pushing on, because those are the seals that are going to keep the water out of here. So really want to use the grooves that it has for you there. But I'm going to see how easily this pushes in here, and grease it up really good, and hopefully we'll be able to get it in there without a whole lot of trouble here. But we will see. Socket on here. Don't know where my hammer is, so we'll just... Or not all the way. I'm not gonna... Straight from my hand to way overkill. Alright, there it went. Just check it real good, because you do not want to screw up this part. This is a important piece of the puzzle, putting it back together, is getting that seal right. Because if it's wrong, you'll find out really quick, because you'll have water right back in here. So we'll jump forward here in a second, because I need my piece of cardboard that I lost. Alright, so now we're putting in a piece of cardboard. We got it all greased up here. Slips right in the groove that I was just using to push that seal in there. And then we'll go to this side. Again, more marine grease. Get it all good to go before it gets put in there. I don't want to end up with grease everywhere. And I am aware that ideally you have some rubber gloves on when you're doing this. But I'm also in the middle of renovating a house and switching boats and stuff over. I don't know where my rubber gloves went, so I'm just gonna have to clean my hands up after I do this, because I don't want to end up with grease on everything. But here we go. Just take that there. Should push in pretty easy here, I would say. And that wasn't what I wanted to happen. Alright. Hand's not working. It appears that we have made it there. Alright, I'm going to clean my hands off and we will continue on here. Alright, so I won't be able to hold the camera for the next part here, but got the power wires plugged in, got it facing, pretty much that end of it facing down, and then we're going to take this part and screw it on to there with that other wire under that next screw. I'm not really going to be able to record it while I do it, but I'll show you guys after I get it on here. Alright, so the next thing we got to do is put the new armature back in. I will say that there's a washer off of the shaft right here that I had to rob off the other one. I don't know if it fell off at some point, but luckily I still have this one. I would recommend before you go sticking anything back in, what I'm doing is just sizing everything up and making sure that I have the right one, which everything looks exactly the same. So I feel like I should be good to go, and I'm going to put this thing back in there and see if we get everything back together here without hurting myself. The big thing that I'm a little bit worried about is what it's going to do when it starts pulling this in. You don't want to get your fingers in there. Okay. Seems to be going okay. Alright. Magnets pull it into place pretty well on its own there. And then show you guys here. Just got to make sure that you feed it through there as it goes through. That's why you want all that back together first. But looks good. I'm going to slide my new O-ring on this end. So I'll just slide it over the end there and then cut that old one off. And then, like I said, there's a magnet and stuff in there. Got it all cleaned up and it should pull itself back together. Just kind of keep going here. I think we're almost done. Alright, as I'm doing this, I am going to grease this thing just a little bit. I'm not really sure if I need grease on there, but it's one of those things that looks like it needs a dab. Also, forgot to mention it when I was doing the last one, before you seal everything up, good to put a little coating of grease onto the O-rings. Just a little bit of it. Make it seal up real nice there. Alright, so we'll slide that back over here. We've got everything to suck it into place here. There it goes. Alright, it's holding there. Feels like it's turning really easily. So we'll kind of finish up down here. I really don't know how well this part is going to go or how easy it's going to be here. But the next thing is we're pushing just all this together. Like I said, you feed that through, that comes out that end. And then something to note here too is that with the seal kit, they do send 2 small little O-rings on there. Those go to these long bolts down here. You want to let it focus here. Wow. Come on. There. That's where those go. You want to replace those because that is a direct line straight into there to ruin all your hard work. So last rule of business is make sure you put an O-ring back on those things, because if that had broke off and you didn't see those in there and you just went, oh, okay, and you bolted it back together, it's going to leak and you're going to be right back in the same boat. So remember to replace those before you seal it all up. Wanted to also point something out. Those 2 magnets right down in there, that one and that one, you'll have to kind of pull them apart to slide it over there so that this end goes in, and then you'll be to the point where we can start screwing things back together here. But I'm going to attempt, let's see if I can set the camera down here, attempt to get everything to slide back. Alright, so I'm going to try to show this as best I can. I don't know what all you guys can actually see here. So we're going to pull down, pull up, and just barely slide that over. I need another pick, or a screwdriver will work. So we're going to take that one, go down, this one go up, and push in. And we got it. Now this is another tricky part. You gotta feed these down through here. They will end up connecting with something down there. We use our socket, 8mm. Not a tough one to record the process, but I figured out if you actually push in on this end, just to pop this end out just a little bit, you can kind of see down here where your bolt is at. So that way, if you just kind of hold on this end, put your ratchet on there, and just real easily fish around, you can get it at least in there and started. That way your second one will line up a lot better. Can't really record that as I'm doing it, but that's what I'm going to do on the next one here, and then we'll close it up. Alright, so pretty much did the same thing. Actually, it didn't work as well seeing down in there, but I was able to fish around pretty easy once I had it lined up with the other one, and was able to catch the hole with that one. It was harder feeding that screw through. If you're having trouble with that, I just kind of fished around. I think there was a wire or something in the way, but got both of those in. Everything's back together and we're sealed up. I just need to tighten these down, pretty much make sure that everything is perfectly aligned like it should be. You don't want your transducer pointing the wrong direction or any of that, which it'll kind of pull into place pretty easily. But other than that, you put your prop back on and you're good to go. Thanks for watching.